thick album, 2 I's, 2 C's.
Right. And I respect that. You know, I made a criticism about the length of the album last week.
You surely did. Do you recant that criticism now?
I don't recant it because I do think as a listening...
I thought we were growing. It's like when your mom, you give her like a dolphin ornament one year for Christmas, and she's like, I love dolphins. And then every year after that, she gets dolphin ornaments for the rest of her life until she dies.
We all have that animal from our childhood that like you are associated with because all your relatives just get you that, you know.
What was yours?
Mine was, well, for a long time it was wolves, and then it transitioned to tigers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So mask. Mine was dolphins, which is why they came to mind.
Dolphins. That's a good one.
Dolphins are a good one. I had a whole under the sea themed bedroom when I was in like second grade. We had a Cape Cod, and then the second floor was like unfinished because when my parents built the house, they were like scraping their bank to like build it. So we just had like 2 bedrooms on the first floor. So Greg and I shared a bedroom, and then our parents' bedroom was across the hall. And then they moved us upstairs and finished the second floor when I was in like second grade. And my mom was like so into the faux finish thing, which you know I hate. But she did a really nice job, and she like made my whole bedroom was like under the sea. It was like all blue, and the ceiling was too. And she like painted fish everywhere and seaweed. It was pretty dope.
The type of stuff that like parents like spend money on for their kids. Like my room was completely covered in like pretty like high quality like wolf statues and tiger statues. They were probably like $30 or $40. Like I don't even think I asked for them.
They went to Ice Imports at the mall.
Yes, exactly. The last remaining open store.
They said, "We'll buy the whole place."
But like I can't imagine buying that for some. Like I don't know. I don't even think I was asking for that. Like I wasn't. I would rather have had like Pokemon cards or something at that time in my life.
Do you know what? Pokemon's the first time I learned about like manufactured scarcity. Like, I was telling my parents, I was like, these are rare cards. And my mom was like, no, they're not. And I was like, it says right there, they're rare.
There's a star.
Or I'm like, but they're uncommon cards too.
You fool, Mom. It says it right here in the corner of the card.
Don't you understand anything? I hate you. Like, literally, though. But she was like, you know, this is not real because there's so many people who have this rare card. It can't really be that rare if they're printing them. And then I was like, oh, wait a second here. Something is afoot.
Yeah, I had like a moment where I was like, these are literally just pieces of cardboard.
Also true.
Yeah.
And valid. Okay, should we start?
Yeah, let's start. I'm a casual chalupa enjoyer, Justin.
And I'm the 10th dentist that doesn't recommend Crest Pro Health, Geoff.
Welcome to Bants. We're in the same room and we still can't sync it up. No, That's fine.
Still can't. We'll get it one day.
Eventually.
Maybe do it in post.
The problem is we're in the same room now, so our simultaneous delivery will probably be caught on each other's mics.
Oh,
so
fuck.
I can't
that.
correct it in that way. That's fine.
That's okay.
It's a more authentic experience for the viewers.
So authentic.
Yeah.
For the viewers.
Listeners, I guess.
And we have yet to do our video stuff, but that's coming, listeners dear.
It's coming. So Geoff, how have you been?
Well, Justin, I have been great. I just finished my big gala, as you know, because you were our DJ and you did a phenomenal job. And I think you're going to get a lot of business from it, too.
I did get a lot of attention from the many slightly older
it's okay
constituents.
To say older. It's okay to say older.
It was a disco-themed gala, so I did a lot of 70s like disco music, and that was very popular with the elderly. At the gala.
Okay, I mean, elderly might be a bit much. You were like slightly older to elderly. I would say they're in the prime of their lives.
Yes. I wish I was that old, honestly.
Do you?
Retired, plenty of money. You're going to a fundraising gala for fun.
Closer to death.
You know, death is a part of life, Geoff. As you mentioned in the previous episode, I welcome it.
That's true. Things could be worse. If you do hear the occasional meow, it's from my cat Drogo, who is very excited that Justin and I are both sitting in his area of the kitchen.
Excited might be a bit of a positive spin on the situation, but...
Yeah, he might be a little bit annoyed that we've had to move his food bowls around so that we can set up all of our cords that we need. But But we're making the best of it. We're all growing. Remember, that's the theme of the podcast.
Yeah, and speaking of growing, this is our first in-person episode where we're both in the same room. Which is, I think, it's cool. It's nice.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
It's nice not to have like the slight delay that we have on Zoom. It's not big, but
it does affect it. I think we talk over a lot. We talk over each other a lot more over Zoom because there is that delay.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, this will be a little bit more natural.
So how are you? What's new with you?
Well, yeah, I mean, I did the DJ thing. That was super fun. And then have a big week at work coming up. So gonna be busy with that. And yeah, just excited for it to be summer. It's Pride. So happy Pride.
Thank you.
It's gonna be
I will only receive that. I won't be saying it this month.
Well, I'm glad that I can offer it to you then
Thank
today.
you.
Yeah, so it's gonna be a great month. I mean, it's almost summertime. In DC, it's basically summer. Here in Connecticut, it's
summer all the time in DC.
I know, it feels that way. It really does.
That's why, I was telling you and Brandy last night that I want to visit you and you guys and Ben more. And then I was thinking about it this morning and I was like, I don't want to go to DC between the months of like April and October because it's just too hot.
It's not. I mean, maybe my bar is now lower, but it's not too bad now in DC. Like if you go, it's like peak summertime, like July, August. That's rough. Like triple digits, and it's like a swamp and super humid. So
it's literally swamp town.
Yeah.
Isn't it crazy that they used to just be like, hey, we're turning this swamp into a city now?
Manhattan. That's literally New York.
I know. It's crazy to me. Like they just turned like a thriving coastal estuary into like a concrete jungle.
Yeah.
Where dreams are made of.
It's
point for me.
I mean, it's because all of these cities were built in areas that were convenient ports. Yeah. So I guess it makes sense in that way. But yeah, it's a little bit sad to see all of that wilderness and wildlife, changed into this just kind of block of concrete.
I don't know.
But I like cities.
What it is at this point. I like cities too. I got to move to a city. This ex-urban life is not for me.
New London doesn't count as a city?
It's a very small city. Very small. I think our population is 30,000. So it's just there's not a lot to do here. You know that. Yeah.
It has a little, it's nice. I like New London.
Well, apparently it's happening because they keep putting up signs everywhere that's New London's happening. And, me and Anna are driving around. We're like, where? Where is it going to go? What's going on?
Is this like when Michael Scott declared bankruptcy? They're just saying that it's happening. And they're like, well, maybe if I say it enough, it'll actually happen.
Manifestation. The Office taught us about manifestation way longer before we really talked about that as a society.
The Office was an early adopter of manifesting. Right.
Yep. You heard it here first. Let's be the first to announce that retrospective.
But yeah, let's get into the newest and latest in the culture.
Do you mean let's talk about hot topics?
Is that the name of our segment?
Well, yeah, the segment is going to be named Hot Topics because we talk about hot topics. They're topical. They are interesting.
And they are hot.
They are hot. And this is a nice homage to Wendy Williams.
I see.
She's one of my idols and so sad about how things have gone for her.
Rest in peace.
Well, she's still alive. So
I am aware of that, but I thought it'd be funny.
Okay. So you thought the death of an iconic radio woman who is black would be funny.
Just to clarify, she didn't actually die. It was just a joke. It was just a little bant, A
little bant, yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of problematic. Anyway, what do you have for hot topics? Also, we got to change that. That hot topics didn't work for me. Can we do that in post?
Hot topics.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I love that. It's very much Entertainment 720.
Yeah.
Bobby Newport has never worked a real job one day in his life. All right. So hot topics.
Yeah. Hot topics. We have some movies to talk about. So
we love the movies are back, Justin.
Are they? We're going to get into that. Feels like they're not really doing that well.
That's
recently.
Another thing we keep being told. The world is truly manifesting. All the entertainment industry, local government, everyone's manifesting.
They're just trying.
New London's happening. The movies are back.
The United States of America.
Everything's fine in the United States of America.
We promise the economy is actually great.
What funded genocide?
But yes, movies. Last weekend was Memorial Day. And the Memorial Day box office was not impressive. So the biggest film that came out.
Are back.
Apparently they're back.
They're
back.
Back.
Allegedly they're back, but
That's
based on the numbers, based on the numbers, they are not back. So the biggest film that was in theaters last weekend was Furiosa, which was that prequel that we mentioned a few episodes ago to Mad Max Fury Road, starring Anya Taylor-Joy and Chris Hemsworth.
I didn't know Chris Hemsworth was in it.
Yeah, that's the only thing. Remember, we were talking about the Met Gala, and I was like, the only thing that's coming out soon that he's going to be in is Furiosa.
Well, famously, I've got a case of the bad brain, so I don't remember all the deets.
Don't we all?
Like, even episode to episode, I'm like, I'll listen back sometimes, and I'm like, we talked about this? Or I'll like be like, oh, I'm going to say this, or this is what I would say after Justin's talks. And then I'm like, oh, I just am mirroring myself now. I'm like parroting what I already said.
And then you're like, wow, I'm so insightful.
Well, that I already know. It's not Discovery.
But yeah, Furiosa completely bombed.
I have to tell you, I'm not surprised by that.
Why are you not surprised?
Because it looked bad.
What about it? Like how?
What was the plot of that movie? From the trailer, tell me what the plot of that movie is. I've got no fucking idea, other than it's like a younger version of Charlize Theron's character driving around.
Yeah, I guess.
Bald-headed.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. Like the advertising made the assumption that people would be familiar with Mad Max Fury Road, and that they would come based on that alone.
Yeah, their affinity to the past film. It's like
right.
What Hollywood's all about right now, which is like, let's just remake the same thing slightly differently with like a slightly new perspective or twist or a slightly different timeline. And we're going to still make millions and billions. Yeah,
it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? So just to quickly touch on how badly it bombed. This is the worst Memorial Day weekend in 29 years. The previous low was Casper the Friendly Ghost, to put like an idea of how bad this weekend was for the box office.
Tough. That was a bad movie. I remember watching that movie as a kid and being like, this is terrible.
If you think a movie is bad as a kid, that movie is truly bad.
Yeah. I think Taylor Momsen was in that, of Gossip Girl fame.
But yeah, like what's sad to me is that, first of all, Mad Max Fury Road, I think like there is a section of people who worship that film. I'm a part of that group. Like that
you worship that film?
That movie.
Are you dying for it?
I am dying for it. Like it's so good. It's maybe like the best action movie, like straight up action flick of the last like 20 years. Like
wow, that's a bold
It
claim.
is insanely good. It's basically like one long chase scene. It has some of the best like physical stunts in any movie that I've seen. Like it's just absolute adrenaline rush the entire time.
So can you tell me, because I really am not familiar with it at all, like what the premise of the movie is? I know it's like post-apocalyptic, and I know that they're all in like a desert. I don't know if it's like a literal desert or if it became a desert because of the apocalypse, but tell me more about it. I don't really know.
So Fury Road is actually the fourth Mad Max film, and don't let that deter you because I have not seen any of the first three. They starred Mel Gibson, and there was a big this is the reason why there was a big gap between Mad Max 3 and Fury Road, and that's because Mel Gibson, went on his like anti-Semitic rants among other things during that time.
Such an asshole.
So they recast Mad Max as Tom Hardy, who is, at least
hot,
not openly problematic.
Okay, that too, sure.
And it's also like this weird world where like you're not really sure what the chronology is. Like it's unclear whether Fury Road takes place before or after some of the other Mad Max movies, and it doesn't really matter. It's kind of just like dream logic. So it's like a pseudo reboot in that way.
Okay.
You don't need to have any context. But the plot of Fury Road is basically that it's post-apocalyptic. There's been a nuclear war. Most of the population of the world has died out. And it's also aggressively Australian. So it's filmed in the Australian outback, which is again very desolate, lots of sand and deserts.
Ayers Rock,
right? And George Miller, I believe, is Australian, so there's a lot of like Australian cultural influence there.
Good day, mate.
And basically, like a lot of other post-apocalyptic films, it uses this kind of like harsh environment to make an allegory about the state of our society. So in Fury Road, there's a villain basically, and he's like your classic like robber baron type villain. He lives in this area that is like really rich in resources. It has water, it has like greenery, has food, where the rest of the wasteland, which is what they call kind of like the outside world, that's desert, doesn't have any resources. The wasteland doesn't have any of those resources. And he essentially has stockpiled all of that power for himself and, developed a cult of personality around him. So there's like these warriors that are like completely loyal to him, and they do like insane inhalant drugs to They're like
Poppers.
berserkers, basically.
Happy Pride.
But all you really need to know is that Charlize Theron is this badass kind of like truck driver. And that's another important key feature of this world, is that the main form of combat is that like there is trade that happens between kind of three key resources. There's like the area that has like water, an area that makes bullets, and an area that has gas. And you can imagine how this is like an allegory for our society, right? And there's like leaders at each of these cities. Mm-hmm. This powerful guy, the dictator, which I want to say his name's Immortan Joe, but let me just double check that.
I love a crazy.
Yes, his name is Immortan Joe.
Immortan Joe.
He basically sends caravans of like cars, right?
To do the trade.
And
then the other people are like, we're going to kill you.
Right. There's raiders that come and try to take the resources on the road.
Crash into each other and shit like that.
Exactly. And so it has this like very kind of like guys being dudes appeal of like these fucking heavily armored like tractor trailers.
Yeah.
And it is like some of the coolest shit. Like they make these practically. It's not CGI, right? So they have these insane rigs. Cars, bikes, like everything with like, you know, maces attached to them, like all these insane weapons, flamethrowers, like all practical. And a lot of the stunts in Fury Road it's essentially one long chase scene. Charlize Theron's character, Immortan Joe, I should say, has like a harem of like 5 wives, and they're basically slaves because he just wants to, you know, impregnate them and make sure that his progeny go out into the world like any kind of like, you know, horrible fascist leader. So they're kind of stuck there. But Charlize Theron's character, who is kind of like a lieutenant of Immortan Joe's, decides like this is wrong, and she kidnaps them into her rig because that's her job. She like drives the rig for supply runs, and she's like, all right, we're escaping, bitches. She leaves with these 5 women, and Immortan Joe basically realizes this and starts a chase scene. That's the premise of the movie. It's actually like a very aggressively feminist film, which I think a lot of people don't understand. Like it says a lot about how capitalism like reinforces sexism. You know, like this Immortan Joe guy is basically just like a capitalist. He's like, I want to hoard all of the water for myself so that I have some like power. Yeah. You know, and in this world of the wasteland, that's capital. Yeah, it's really great. And then, I mean, it's not complicated, right? It's not like nuanced in any way, but it's just like.
And somehow you made the explanation very much complicated.
But it's a very simple movie. It's basically just a chase scene. And getting back to Furiosa, it's essentially a backstory for Charlize Theron's character because when we see her in Fury Road, she's, like I said, the lieutenant of Immortan Joe. Yeah. And you're kind of like, how did she end up there if she's such like a badass? Like why, and so principled, right? Like why is she working for this asshole? And you find out why basically over the course of Furiosa. And I saw Furiosa. I thought it was like excellent, like very good. A very different movie than Fury Road. Fury Road is 2 hours of just like straight up chase scene action. Yeah. Furiosa is way more like old Hollywood, like reminded me of like Ben-Hur. Like it has like 5 acts and there's like a title card for each act. It felt like very old Hollywood.
That's so interesting.
Yeah. And it's like an epic fantasy post-apocalyptic like saga.
So almost. Then would you say that the marketing of the movie like totally defied like what the actual film was like?
It didn't completely because it was trying to emphasize the link with Fury Road, and there is that link there, like, but that's not the reason why the movie was good. Like if they took that away, it would have been good. Like if Fury Road didn't exist, this movie would still be great.
From what you're saying, it seems to me like maybe the way that they should have marketed it was like the Joker, as like this is like the origin story kind of thing.
They should have focused on the character of Furiosa more, I think. Like, they could have marketed this, you know, like, in a world. Like, here's a woman, and basically
like, tell us what it's about.
Right, like, here's why you care about this character.
They don't do that in movies anymore. That, like, in a world thing is, like, so, like, of the 90s and early 2000s, I feel like. Like, you don't watch any trailers anymore that are like that.
And that's because studios just think the IP is just going to carry them. They think that that's the only thing that matters is that people have this connection to an existing IP and they'll go and see it.
Yeah, just out of their loyalty and fandom.
So, yeah, I think to go back to like the state of Hollywood, it's disappointing that Furiosa didn't do well because I think it's genuinely like a very creative and great film. And I think that, you know, studios have been shooting themselves in the foot by marketing it the way that they did without actually saying like what the appeal is to people. Yeah. When you look at the demographics of who came, it was mostly like men aged like 25 to 35. And like nobody else saw it, basically. Like women didn't see it. Young people didn't see it. People younger than 25 at least.
Gotcha.
So it seems like they weren't trying to market outside of their like specific demographic of people who were already into Fury Road.
Yeah.
And I think it's sparked a little bit of conversation about like the state of the box office now. On one hand, a lot of movies were delayed from this year because of the writer and actor strike that happened. So there's no Marvel film on Memorial Day, and this is the first.
Oh no, I'm so upset.
Right. Well, this is the first Memorial Day in a long time that there hasn't been a Marvel film. And I think that the studios, as always, are going to take the wrong message from this, which is like, well, I guess we just got to keep making those Marvel films because that's the only thing that people are coming out for.
Yeah.
You know? When the real problem is like, well, maybe people just want to see good movies and
maybe people are tired of the same shit regurgitated back to them over and over and over again.
Right.
Maybe we're beyond that now.
So I pray and hope that that studios take the right message from this, but I know that they won't.
Yes. No faith in that system.
And like Challenger's, a modest success, but didn't blow the doors off of the box office, and it's already available to rent at home. So that's another thing that I think is kind of a problem, is that people are very happy to wait until it comes out so they can watch it at home. And I think, again, this is a situation where studios shot themselves in the foot because they're the ones during the pandemic who started this trend. And maybe during the pandemic, it was a good idea of like releasing movies straight to streaming or to release it on streaming soon after the theatrical release. But I think now that we're back to like a post-lockdown world, like hold your cards a little bit closer to your chest. Like don't act so desperate. Like don't put it out on streaming until like a couple months at least after the release,
Yep. I agree with that. I think, it's like fun to go to the movies and whatnot, but it also is very expensive now. It just really is so costly. And I think, when these studios are thinking about like, I don't know if it's like a studio thing. I don't know if it's like the cottage industry of movie theaters, but I don't think that they're very realistic in their pricing. And like, there's a lot of families that just like straight up can't afford that, but they can afford to pay, $20 to like watch the movie, like rent it on demand or something later instead of spending $40 to take their family to the theater.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think that's part of it. And people are like, well, I already pay for Amazon. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, like maybe it's like if they're already paying so much money for streaming, it's like, why am I on top of that going to pay to go to the movies when the movie will come out here? Yeah. Like it's also the FOMO effect isn't there. And this goes back to like there not being really a monoculture. Like maybe in film, the closest thing to the monoculture is like Marvel.
Yeah.
So like people want to see what happens in this Marvel film so that they can talk about it around the water cooler or whatever. Right. And people are not talking about Furiosa around the water cooler unless you work in like the coolest workplace. But like, yeah, like nobody is like, man,
unless you're amazing like me.
Exactly, Geoff. But yeah, nobody is like worried about being spoiled for Furiosa. Like nobody cares. So I think that's a big thing too. Like there's not movies that are getting people excited to talk about them with their community. And I think that's just the product of the digital world that we live in, where everybody is like hyper specialized into like niche communities instead of like having one large community that they can talk to about stuff.
Yep. Yeah, like I'm thinking back to like when I was younger, and it's like when we went to the movies, like to see something like incredible, like you said, that was like monoculture, like Men in Black or Wild Wild West. And we'd like flock to the theater and watch it, and then it's like, because you're not going to get the VHS available or the DVD available until like Christmas of that year.
Yeah, it's the FOMO effect. And like not that Men in Black had any like crazy plot twists, right? No. It was more just that like this is the movie that people are seeing, so I'm gonna go see it.
Yeah, movie of the summer.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that doesn't exist anymore.
No, it doesn't. Everything just comes out so quickly. We also don't spend as much time on things anymore, which I think is part of the reason why people are just like, they get annoyed when albums particularly are too long. It's like, people, it's just like listen once and rinse and repeat, and then we just go on to the next thing. Like we're just moving so quickly all the time. Well,
it's the devaluing of media.
Yeah,
it's even worse with music because streaming has completely devalued music.
Yeah,
people are like, why would I spend $15 on an album? Like when I can just stream it and it's super disposable.
Yeah, exactly.
And that began, when all the record labels sold their souls to Spotify, basically.
Yeah. And now all the artists are putting out like the limited edition vinyls and like re-releasing them with different covers or different colors, whatever, so that they can try to drive up sales that way, which I think is kind of a desperate act.
Well, artists in the music industry don't make money off of streaming.
Yeah, like it's all about the touring now.
Right, it's all about touring and merch.
Which we got to talk about this because
What a segue.
I think that some of our influence from this pod has helped to cause this happen.
Did we manifest this?
I think we manifested J-Lo canceling her tour to, quote, spend time with her loved ones. And she's completely heartbroken. What do you have to say about that?
I mean, listen, I think you're going to talk some shit here. I do feel bad for J-Lo. I think that the situation, the economies of touring is rough for all artists right now.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of smaller artists that have canceled their tours. You know, I follow a lot of electronic acts that have had to cancel their tours because their tickets just weren't selling. And it seems like a similar thing has happened with J-Lo, and I think this is just like maybe the biggest instance of a tour cancellation we've seen during this wave of kind of like music industry difficulties.
Yeah.
So it's sad to see for that reason. But at the same time, I'm kind of like, I don't know that J-Lo stans like exist. Like Beyonce, Lady Gaga, Taylor Swift, those people are stans. Like they are hardcore fans. I don't know any hardcore fans of J-Lo.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think, and we were talking a little bit about this yesterday, but I think that, I believe you made the point, or maybe Brandy, I can't remember, that like, J-Lo almost is like falls in the category of like nostalgia music for a lot of people now.
Yes, that was me that said that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost like
I gotta take credit for everything.
Just taking the
minus
the credit.
1 point for you.
Okay, I guess -1 point for me.
We gotta actually start keeping track of the points.
Should I add the
funny? Yeah, we need
add the little
counters.
ding.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's kind of in the same category. My mind is like, you know, there's all these kind of like legacy rappers, I would say, like Nelly or like,
love Nelly.
You know, like Busta Rhymes or somebody like that, who when they tour, they do like medium-sized venues.
Yeah.
And most of the audience is people like our age who grew up with their music and love their music.
You mean your age?
Yeah, sorry, my age. I forgot that you are 29. Yeah. But we grew up with their music and we're familiar with it. We love it. It's not like cynical, but they're not expecting to get draw from like a massive crowd because they're not putting out, you know, music right now, new music that's like critical to the culture.
Yep,
right.
Exactly.
And I kind of think J-Lo is in that same category.
Yeah, her last album, which is called "This Is Me Now," which I think was also the name of the tour that she just canceled, was not well received.
I didn't even know she put it out.
Yeah, it was. I didn't listen to the whole album. I did listen to a few songs, and I did watch her perform it or two of the songs from it on SNL. And I thought it was like fine. It wasn't anything groundbreaking. It wasn't anything really new from her. And like J-Lo has some great hits, and you know she has this great legacy. I think honestly she's a much better dancer than she is singer. I think she's also a much better actor than she is a singer. But she is truly a great entertainer, period. And while like obviously like I don't really wish ill on her as a person, it is fun to like kind of hate on her for the way that she treats people. It sort of feels like karma's coming back around to bite her in the ass now. And so for that reason I'm like, well, maybe this will encourage you to be a better person and more humble version of yourself.
It's interesting because speaking of blind items, I've read a couple of like speculations or rumors about the dynamic between her and Ben, which is related to this because, as you mentioned, she gave kind of the excuse or the reasoning behind cancellation on top of poor ticket sales is just that she wanted to spend time with her, quote, loved ones, end quote, and which implies to me there's kind of like a suggested connection maybe to the recent rumors about her and Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, some of the rumors surrounding them and their dynamic right now is that Ben seems to be kind of in a settling down phase of his career and life where he's like, I kind of want to take time and relax, make some easy money.
Yeah.
I'm not feeling ambitious. And J-Lo is more of like a mover and shaker and more, she wants to be ambitious.
Yeah.
But I think that like, I don't think she has the juice anymore. Like, no, like, I'm sorry, but like I said, I don't think she has the cultural relevance, and based on the album that she just put out, which again, I haven't listened to it, but based on the critical response, she doesn't have the creative juice to really like push and be somebody who's influential now.
Well, she doesn't have, she's big enough now and has a reputation that's known in the industry to the point where she doesn't have other artists to like piggyback off of their work, like Ashanti, like Amory. There's plenty of others. There's a woman from Connecticut. I saw her TikTok She lives in, I think she's from Bridgeport, and she lives in like that area-ish now in Fairfield County.
Mm-hmm.
And she sang what her vocals on TikTok that J-Lo like used without her permission in one of the songs that she wrote for her. And she was like, I got no credit. I did not make very much money off of it. We sold it once and to the record label, and like I didn't get any kind of residuals. And she's like, I have a regular job now. I have a great life. I'm happily married and have kids. But she's like, it's just wrong that happened to me. And I know it happened to dozens of other people in the industry, including some famous people who should have had bigger careers. Ashanti?
Yeah.
She was so good. Ashanti was so talented. And she like had probably like 4 or 5, like I would say charting hit songs, but then she kind of just disappeared off the face of the earth.
I mean, I wonder if
I'm not saying J-Lo's solely responsible for that. I'm just saying, like, J-Lo did steal some of her music.
J-Lo killed Ashanti.
Point for you.
Rest in peace. But yeah, I wonder if this will cause her to maybe reassess not just her professional life, but also maybe like her relationship with Ben and maybe their disagreements, if these blind items are to be trusted. Because, you know, if I were her, I'd be like, well, maybe I don't need to be like an aggressive, ambitious person to live a happy life.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I'm probably projecting because I feel like, you know, I came from a place where I was very ambitious when I was younger, and now I'm like, ambition is so overrated.
Yeah.
Like, I'm happy to just like do what I love, work a job that pays me enough to live, and then call it a day.
OnlyFans. And that's why Justin is now announcing his OnlyFans on the pod. Justin, why don't you give yourself a plug?
Yeah, it's exclusively feet pics. You can find it at onlyfans.com/Justin. I'm sure that exists.
I'm sure that is
that's somebody else's OnlyFans. Give them business, sure, but it's not me. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I do want to go back quickly to something about J-Lo in that, like, I agree with you. I think that Ben Affleck, like, was very ambitious, had huge success, like, arguably the largest success you can have with, like, Good Will Hunting very early in his career. And he's been kind of, like, coasting. And, like, I mean, he's done other great movies, like Argo, allegedly. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, he directed Argo, yeah.
Yeah, it definitely does seem like he's winding down, and you know, he's got kids, and I think he's older and realizes like life is probably short, and he's plenty comfortable with money. He doesn't need any more, and his kids probably wouldn't even need to work if they didn't want to. But I think J-Lo, one thing about her that I will always give her credit for is she is a mover and a shaker, and she never is the kind of person that like rests on their laurels. But it's at the point now where I think it's almost like a little bit delusional. Like, I don't think that
it's a
she's
little bit.
super
That's why I feel
realistic.
bad. I feel a little bit sad about this, even though I know, you know, down with J-Lo.
We were hating on her, but yeah, I do feel a little bit bad because it's like, I think she's one of those people who has been so famous for so long and achieved so much success over her career. I mean, she's like multi-millionaire. She's gotten all kinds of different awards and stuff. And I can't even tell you how many movies. She's probably had like 20 movies. And like, I think this was like her 9th studio album or 10th maybe. Like, she's done everything you could do. And I think she still wants more. I don't think that she feels fulfilled. And I think part of that is because she surrounds herself with like, yes, people who aren't realistic with her about her expectations. Who could just be like, girl, you've done it all. You have nothing else to prove. Relax. Do your music if you want to do, but don't be trying to sell out like, you know, 25,000, 30,000 seat arenas. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's tough though, because like she's a woman in our society and in an entertainment industry, which is like that's a difficult place to be in. And she's a woman of color. And so it's like, I don't know. I feel a little bit guilty now, like thinking about like tearing her down, because she is a woman of color and she has done a lot of great work and made huge strides in an industry that is like historically, and a society that's historically unfriendly to both of those things. But
yeah, but you can still have hubris even though you came from, you know, and I think that we mentioned that she is so well known. Like, everybody knows who J-Lo is.
Yeah.
But that celebrity status alone isn't going to get you a creatively impressive album or a critically acclaimed album, you know? Like, maybe this is just an opportunity for her to step back and maybe reassess. And hopefully she comes back and does something that's really creatively great. You know, that would be, I think,
love
awesome.
that for her.
Yeah.
I would also love her to sort of atone for her bad behavior.
Yeah.
And also, I'd love for her to like admit that she did steal music from people and tried to pass off as her own and did not give them their due credit, because I think that would be a nice thing for people to see. People love to do a teardown, but people also love to see a comeback.
They love a comeback story.
So
So let's move on quickly to some updates. I wanted to give a little bit more detail about AI. So there's been a couple of updates since we talked about it in our last episode. First update is that Google rolled back its controversial AI overview feature. This is the one that recommended that people put glue into their pizza cheese, which is based on a scraped Reddit comment. So I feel like we have to touch on this because we talked about it and, kind of joked on Google a little bit last episode. Obviously, I think it's a good move to roll back this update because I think it really reduces the legitimacy of Google and its effectiveness as like a search engine. But I don't think they're going to stop the AI train. I don't think this is like a lesson where they're like, well, we're done with AI now. I think it's more that they're going to keep testing it until it is, not embarrassing and then put it back out. But I thought that was worth a mention.
I'm curious to see how they're going to employ AI in the future, because I'm trying to understand, because one thing that you brought up last time was that a lot of websites, they pay Google to basically get placement.
I think Google's ideal end state would be like you search something like where do I buy shoes of this kind in my area, and then you have like an AI result that basically has like scraped a bunch of the internet sources and says like here's a couple of shoe stores in your area, and then right below that there's maybe like 4 to 5 ads for shoe stores. And then the actual search results you have to scroll down for. Right? I think that would be like the ideal end state for Google, because then nobody leaves the Google search bar. You don't go to other websites and leave Google, which is what Google wants.
Right.
But it's really bad for those other sites that need the Google algorithm to send people to their sites,
Because otherwise you would have to go directly to their site all the time, and no one's going to do that when they're looking for something. That's the first thing we all do is just type into Google. Interesting.
Yes. But on the AI note, I also wanted to give a little bit more detail about the Screen Actors Guild and AI. So we got into the weeds with this, and Geoff was notably definitely not mad about it. So
no, I loved it.
But I did want to get into a little bit more of the weeds because I did a little bit more research in the contract between SAG-AFTRA and the film studios.
Okay, you have 2 minutes.
Okay, let's go. So first thing I want to make a distinction of is the difference between a synthetic performer and a digital replica. So a digital replica is what Geoff was talking about, like holograms, deep fakes. These are fake actors that are based on real actors, right? Those are explicitly outlawed in the contract unless they have permission of the performer.
Right.
So that's a plus, good on the contract. But a synthetic performer is a quote-unquote actor, like a synthetic actor that is formulated without being based on any actual living person. That's more what I was talking about, where you type it into a prompt. You type in a prompt and then it just gives you some, actor, right? That looks not like anybody, right? We're not quite at the stage where that is like feasible, where it looks believable, but it is potentially possible down the line.
Like The Sopranos, Tony's mom.
Yeah?
I think that's what these synthetic performers will look like. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
Okay, I think it was season 2 of The Sopranos. The actor who played Tony Soprano, James Gandolfini's mother, passed away, but they were like in the middle of a storyline that they needed to resolve, and there was no way to do it. So this was not AI, obviously. It was all done with CGI.
Yeah.
But they basically molded her face onto another actor who was like a stand-in, basically, similar body type, and was playing her. And it just looked uncanny. It was really weird looking and uncomfortable to watch. And so I think that these synthetic performers are going to look like that kind of work, where it looks botched and uncanny.
I mean, right now it does. That's why I said earlier that I don't think we're quite at that point yet where people are concerned about it, because it is very obvious. But
I'm still concerned.
But down the line, it could potentially get good enough that it's not discernible.
No, I don't know.
We'll see.
I don't like it.
But what's important is that there actually isn't any explicit outlawing of synthetic performers in the contract. So this is actually a potential loophole. There's no blocking of studios from training AI systems to create synthetic actors. And I think that this could cause legal problems, because the way that these AIs are trained is through video content. So it's like everything in reality is actually based on some other actor's performance.
Yeah.
It's just the nature of it's not one-to-one, like this is supposed to be Scarlett Johansson, this is supposed to be Bruce Willis or whatever, right? It's more amalgamation of multiple different performers. So yeah, I just wanted to clarify that. I think it is important, and it is still like a loophole. It does have some stipulations that the union can barter with the studio that chooses to do this, but there's no explicit outlawing of this. And I think this is where this is what writers actually were worried about because, large language models are, I don't know if they're good at writing, but they can write scripts, right? The scripts are probably shitty, but they can do it. And what writers were worried about was literally like, well, the robots are going to replace us. So that's why in the writer's contract, they did explicitly outlaw studios from using AI generated scripts.
Yep.
So that's a plus, but the actors have not explicitly outlawed that yet.
Fran, get on it.
Get on it, Fran.
Well, Justin, thank you for explaining that. Gives a little bit more context. I do want to change gears, though, because we did get a listener email.
Oh, a real listener email. Okay.
A real listener email, and I have to tell you, you'd be kind of surprised to see who wrote in.
Who was it?
Well, it was my former enemy and now friend, Jason.
Jason?
Jason has written in with a correction.
Brutus?
He's now on my side. Point for me. But he wanted me to let you know that Meg Stalter was not in Broad City, and that he thinks you might have been conflating Paul W. Downs and her in Hacks with Paul W. Downs working with Abby Jacobson and Alana Glazer in Broad City.
That makes sense. My brain is bad, as we've established. Both of us have bad brains. So I probably was just mixing memories of Broad City and Hacks because I did see season 1 of that show. So
gotta watch season 2 and 3, Justin. I just watched the finale of season 3 yesterday. It was the day before yesterday. It was great.
Wow.
It was like such a perfect season finale.
Does it seem like there's going to be another season?
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome.
I'm so excited for it.
They're easy episodes to binge too, right? They're like 20 minutes.
They're a little bit longer, actually. They're like 35 to 38 minutes long.
Okay, still short.
But it's good. Yeah, it's really, and it's like a fun watch.
Cool. On this note, this is bizarre, but Jason also emailed me.
What?
I know, it's really weird.
I refuse to give you a point.
Okay, so I guess I still have negative 1 points. But yeah, he mentioned you used the word Cajun a lot in your discussion of Cowboy Carter last week.
Yes, I already know what he's going to say.
He said that you should have been using the term Creole.
Creole is what I meant to use. Creole is like where Beyonce's roots are all from. Her mom is a Creole person. Beyonce is self-identified as a person of Creole heritage. Cajun is really not the culture that I think that Beyonce was tapping into when she was doing the song. I'm thinking particularly of Alligator Tears, I believe. That's when I was describing it as Cajun sounding, but it's really not. It really sounds like Creole music.
Gotcha. Well, Jason, thank you for writing in to correct Geoff, and please do not write in to correct me anymore.
Well, we'll see what happens.
But Jason,
I got my only write in if you're on my side.
Same here.
And I'll give you a point.
Yeah, you only get a point if you actually correct Geoff and not me. I have one other correction that doesn't come from Jason, but comes from a friend of mine, Trillium, who is from Canada.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Let's hear it.
She mentioned to me, you talked about Toronto when we were talking about the Kendrick-Drake beef. Yes. And she wanted to clarify that you said that the second T in Toronto isn't enunciated from people who are actually from there. She wanted me to clarify that it's actually both T's are not enunciated. So the way that Toronto natives say it is more like a ch sound.
Toronto. Interesting.
And that's the way that you can tell that somebody's really from Toronto, is if they say Toronto.
I love to learn.
Yes. So thank you,
Trillium. Bro. Thanks, Trill. Love you, girl.
Yeah. So I think that's it for this first section for Hot Topics.
So
let's take a quick break and then we'll get back to our Cowboy Carter discussion.
See you soon. Bye.
Bye.
And we're back.
Part 2.
Part 2 of Cowboy Carter.
Act 2?
Act 2.
For those who missed our previous episode, we talked about the first half of Cowboy Carter. So if you haven't listened to that, go back and listen to that.
now. What are you doing?
Because we're going to start halfway through the album. So we got all the way through track 13, Alligator Tears.
Okay, so after Alligator Tears, we have another interlude. It's Smoke Hour 2 with Willie Nelson.
Yeah, this is one of the interludes I'm like, did we need this?
I didn't mind it. I like that it was keeping with the like conceit that we're like listening to the radio station, and this is his smoke hour. He's got his second. We listened to the first hour, and now we're on to the second hour of his radio show. Mm-hmm. So I kind of liked it. It was only 29 seconds. It really doesn't make a difference in like the length of the album. If you
it's
ask
small,
me.
yeah, it's short. And then next is Just for Fun featuring Willie Jones.
Tell me your thoughts about this.
I liked this song. So musically, it feels like a very lighters out, type song. Mm-hmm. Like at a concert, I can imagine this being like a big sing along. It's a little bit kind of melancholy sounding.
Yeah.
So it fits. What did you think of it?
Honestly, I didn't really connect with it, I guess I would say. I thought it was fine. I didn't really have a lot to say about it. Nothing really additive. I thought it was like a fine song. It's not anything that I'm like, I gotta listen to just for fun over and over again. Mm-hmm. There are some other songs on this back half of the album that I do feel like I want to listen to over and over.
Yeah, I almost feel bad because this second half is filled with so many, bops that it makes some of the other songs like. I think that compared to maybe some of the songs in the first half of the album, mm-hmm. Just for Fun is a standout. But compared to the songs in the second half, I think it does kind of like fall a little bit into the background.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe one of those songs that is a standout, I would assume, is Two Most Wanted. This is a duet with Miley Cyrus. So what do you think of the song?
This was an unexpected collaboration for me. Really? I fully thought that if she was going to collaborate with artists on this album, I thought for sure we were finally getting our part 2 to the Telephone video and song that Lady Gaga did featuring Beyonce now, I think 14 years ago, maybe 13 or 14 years ago. I really thought that we were going to get a Gaga feature collab on this album. I was disappointed at first, but then when I listened to this song, I was so thrilled that she did a collab with Miley. Still would have loved Gaga, but I do hope that will come eventually. What I loved about this song was from the jump, it put me in like a sort of like wistful kind of mood. I believe the song samples Landslide by Fleetwood Mac, one of my favorite bands.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's like an actual sample or if it's just like, Beyonce does a lot of this stuff where she has like a chord progression or a song that sounds so much like a pre-existing song that she's just like, I'll just credit the original, on here just in case, In case. And she's Beyonce, so she can always pull the credit or whatever. Mm-hmm. But yeah, definitely has. I was like, is this Landslide? Is this a cover of Landslide? And
I do think it is. I'm pretty sure that it is like a sample of it that's slowed down because like even some of the, I don't know. If it's not, they just did a great job of like echoing that same sound and feeling that song evokes, which is like all about like looking in the rearview mirror of your life. And like Landslide is definitely about a lot of other things, but this song in particular, I think, is about time passing by and growing older, and people that have been there for you since like day one.
Yeah, it seems like it's a very like ride or die friendship type song, right?
Yeah.
About the feature, so I think that to go a little bit back to our previous kind of like theory about this album, it being 3 phases. So I think we're currently in the second phase of the album. And I think this is kind of like, again, where genres start to get a little bit wobbly. The boundaries start to get a little bit wobbly. And also, I think this is kind of the part of the album that symbolizes like modern country music, right? And I think that's what's interesting about the set of 3 collaborations, right? You've got Willie Jones, Miley Cyrus, Post Malone.
Posty.
I think that Miley and Posty especially are like not straight up country artists, right?
No, definitely not.
But they both have country influence or country influences, right? So I think that makes it interesting that they're in this part of the album, which again is kind of like we're mashing up other genres a little bit with country. So it totally makes sense that we would have Miley and Posty here.
Yeah, I like this section of the album. It definitely has like a lot of pop influence in it. I like that it like harkens back to like some classic rock too, with like the Fleetwood sounds of this song in particular. I feel often that when Beyonce does collaborations, like even when she's a featured artist, like she really carries the weight of the song because she just has such like a richness and depth to her voice that I think even when she's not trying to, and I think that she's a very generous performer. I don't think she's ever trying to steal the spotlight, but she just naturally like does, like her vocals kind of come to the front.
Well, she has a really powerful voice.
She does, yeah, and a lot of people can't compete with that. She also has kind of like a low voice for a female singer, traditionally.
But so does Miley.
Exactly. Yeah. And so like this song really felt like a perfect like choreographed dance of like their vocal ability, like kind of equally matched.
Yeah. And I think for me it was like kind of I was really impressed by Miley's vocal performance, right? I mean, she has like she has a deep voice too, but she has like a very kind of like raspy voice too, like has more texture to it than Beyonce's. Not that Beyonce's voice doesn't have any texture. That's not what I'm saying. It's just a little bit more, raspy.
It's raspy, and it's also got like some nasaliness in it that I really enjoy.
Of these two duets, the one with Miley and Post, I do kind of like the Posty one more, but I think that's my lizard brain talking.
Okay.
Like, I think...
My lizard brain.
Like, I respect Most Wanted much more than I, like, quote-unquote, respect, like, Levi's Jeans.
Okay.
Like, my inner critic is, like, I understand and respect the vocal performances on Most Wanted. It's probably, like, objectively a better song. But I guess if we're moving on to Levi's Jeans, like, when I hear that song, I'm like...
So we're done.
Do you have anything else to add?
Well, I just wanted to say that I really like the lyrics of the song. I think it's quite sweet. And one of the things that Beyonce always does well is that she writes songs that are specific enough to her experiences that they feel authentic coming from her, but they're general enough that there's a lot of different situations where people like see themselves in the song. I mean, I think a lot of art, you could say that about almost any music, right?
That's pop music.
That's kind of the point of it. But that's what I mean. I think like in this section, like it is a more pop section because it does have a little bit more mass appeal in kind of every way that it could, with the featured artist, with the lyrics, with the sounds of the music. I think that this part is really meant to like kind of appeal to the masses.
And to go back to our conversation about country music before last episode, it is true to her life.
Yeah.
You can imagine that she's got friends that have been by her side,
ride
or dies. Yeah. So like,
so long.
She has these people. It's not like she's being, she's not cosplaying as a cowboy like many country artists have done, right? Pretending to be working class or whatever. She's not pretending to any of that. She's more just saying, it's just a pretty straightforward tune about having a friend who's your ride or die.
Yeah. Oh, one other thing that I really liked about this song is that what Miley and Beyonce have in common in their voice is that they both have like a really large, like an outsized range to most singers. They can both like really belt, and they can also do kind of like the lower breathy singing. So what I appreciate is that there's certain parts of the song where they sort of like trade from like being like the melody to like the accompaniment or the harmony, and they both kind of like go back and forth. Like sometimes Miley's singing the harmony and sometimes she's singing like the main vocal. So I really like that because I think a lot of times people just kind of stay in their lane of what they're good at, but in this case they're both good at either aspect of the singing.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I do want to shout out whoever the audio editor was on this, like the engineer, because I think that it also has something to do with the mixing of the vocals, right? So they're also often bringing up Miley during her like lead segment and bringing Beyonce up during her lead segment. So yeah, it's a technical feat and great song.
Great song.
But yeah, I think that my brain is with Most Wanted, but my heart is with Levi's Jeans.
Okay, tell me why.
So this song, where I think like Most Wanted is kind of like a ballad in terms of structure, it has that classic rock, like twangy classic rock type vibe to it. Levi's Jeans is definitely this kind of new wave of like pop, hip hop, country, right? Which I think is like it's really popular right now. Yeah. And it fits Post Malone's genre really well. And it's just like the 808s coming in, which, those bass tones at the beginning, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm vibing to this on a hammock. I'm drinking a beer. Like, it just has good vibes. And like, it's not a complicated song.
No.
The lyrics are about being in a relationship and you want to be by somebody's side. You want to be on them like Levi's Jeans. Pretty simple metaphor. But it's just like a fun song. Like, I feel like this is a great, like, playing beer pong in the garage type song.
Yeah, definitely. This is like a country kickback song.
Absolutely.
It's fun.
Yeah.
I also love the lyric, "Come be my Nick at night.
Yes.
I'll be nostalgia-like." I think that's so fun.
Well, I just wanted to quickly mention that Levi's really caught whatever the opposite of Astray is with this song. Because, like, this is basically some free brand promotion, right?
Yeah, they actually changed their logo, I remember, to the spelling. So Beyonce, every time she uses an I in the song titles on this album, she has a double I instead of the one. To show that this is Act 2, reinforce that. And so Levi's actually changed their logo temporarily
on
to
Instagram.
Have two eyes on Instagram and their other social.
I also saw some speculation that Levi's was like one of the only brands that partnered with Destiny's Child early on in their careers. Like as like a, you know, a brand deal with them. And that this might be kind of like, you know, showing a little bit of love for Levi's for doing that, you know.
That wouldn't surprise me. I don't know that to be true myself, but that wouldn't surprise me at all because I've watched like all of the documentaries that Beyonce and Destiny's Child have put out, and her mom used to like make their costumes for them because they could not find designers, even when they were signed to a massive label that was willing to like put their names, you know, with Destiny's Child, because they were mostly dark-skinned, curvy country women, and so they didn't really think that fit their kind of high-end aesthetic.
I will say that like Levi's is one of those Americana brands that has not gone the like Tractor Supply Company route of marketing. You know, like they I think are popular in like blue and red states. You know what I mean? Like they haven't gone kind of like the lowest common denominator, like country branding side of things.
Exactly.
They've always maintained their appeal on both sides, and I appreciate that about them as a brand. Not that we should really be like liking brands at all, but if I have
Why not,
to,
Justin, what's wrong with that?
My brand.
My brand.
But that's all I got for Levi's jeans.
Good song. I like it.
Same.
Okay, let's talk about one of my favorite songs on this album.
What are your favorites?
One of my favorite songs, Flamenco. What do you think about this song?
I don't dislike the song. It's a short song. It's only a minute and 40 seconds long.
Okay.
But I don't know what to make of it. So I guess why is it one of your favorites?
Okay, it's my favorite because it is so effective in so few words and in such a short length. This is a song that's like you need to like just chill out and be where you are for a minute and like just really get to appreciate the people that you have in your life that are around you. I mean, it starts out, my mind's been telling me to settle down right now. Day One's been telling me that they won't be around. They won't be around. It's like, it's true. It's like, this is a song about like death, basically, I think, and appreciating like life while you have it around you and appreciating those that you have around you in the moment. This song is just really effective in that it really kind of played to my heartstrings, and I was like, wow, this is so moving to me that she like wrote a song that was so short and so sweet, and it really was about love. And not in like the traditional sense. I think most songs we hear about love are generally about romantic love, and this is more about like familial love, platonic love. So for me, I really liked it. And then sonically, it's just a masterpiece. Beyonce's like always the queen of like stacking her own vocals and harmonizing with herself and doing her own ad-libs. And that is part of what I love about the song, is that it's got a very kind of simple guitar beat that goes through the like 1 minute and 40 seconds of the song. There's really not a lot of production other than her vocal production, and her vocals like really carry the song, and it's just like a really moving work for me.
Yeah, I guess for me, it's kind of like sandwiched between this kind of pop section of, with Miley and Post, and then we'll get into it, but the third act of the album, I think, starts after this. So for me, when I listen to the album, it's almost like this song happens, and it's so short that I feel like it goes from my mind often. So maybe I should give it a re-listen and reappraise.
I think you should. Justice for Flamenco. One of the best songs of the album. And I really like it when artists aren't afraid to put out a really short like refrain, reprise, or just a small... I would almost categorize this as like a ditty because it is so short. It's less than 2 minutes long. That is just really good. And they're like, well, I know it's not like what you would it's not a radio play song. It's not like a 3 minutes pop song, but it's something that I really like, and I think that other people enjoy too.
And that's something that I think is what partially confused me about this song and why it mystifies me a little bit, is because it's like if you add something like this short into this part of the album, it's not an intro. It's not one of those like little, you know, radio clips that she puts in. Like, this is a dedicated little song.
Yeah.
And it must have some larger meaning in the context of the album if she wants to add it in there, you know? So, and I guess I just didn't.
Well, I think it kind of like summarizes the past 3 songs that we just talked about, actually. I think it's like a good kind of summation of like, yeah, those 3 songs were all about different kinds of love and like appreciating those who are around you.
Yeah.
Levi's Jeans, obviously romantic. I would say Two Most Wanted is definitely about like friendship, although I think there's some people who have like argued that it could be like...
It could be about romance. Yeah,
romantic love. And then the one before it was about like loving your roots.
Yeah.
And so I think this was like kind of a good like little way to sort of an end cap, I guess you could say, of those last 3 songs.
Yeah, and I will add one thing about the lyrics, because the chorus, she says in the past tense, you know, I hope you know that once I loved you, right? And to me, this almost, you were saying that it's like about appreciating the people in your life, but it's also about the people in your life appreciating you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And to go back to what I mentioned with Alligator Tears, I think that this is an instance where you could take this from a personal perspective and also from like the societal perspective of like, you know, Beyonce realizing that like maybe she deserves more from either her partner or from like society or like, whatever country community.
Yeah, it could
she's
absolutely
about.
be about that. This reminds me of 10th grade English class. When you just like look through a poem and then you have a discussion about it afterwards and what you think it means.
And that's what's great about this album, Geoff. Because when we talked about this last week, you brought up future nostalgia, or not future nostalgia, sorry, radical optimism.
Yes.
And I'm glad that you brought that up because this album is more like this is really like a almost literary work, right? I
think it is.
Right. And there's a lot more to analyze. There's a lot more to talk about. And as much as I liked Radical Optimism, you know, that was a kind of
great album.
It was it seems one note compared to Cowboy Carter, right? It had one kind of lane. It stuck to it. It did it well. Cowboy Carter, as we've discussed, has at minimum 3 lanes and probably a lot more than that kind of like in between the lines, right? So, this is definitely like a creative masterclass in like creating this like world for us to kind of like dive into and analyze. So
thick album, 2 I's, 2 C's.
Right. And I respect that. You know, I made a criticism about the length of the album last week.
You surely did. Do you recant that criticism now?
I don't recant it because I do think as a listening experience, it is a very long album, but when you have something that's this, it is still dense, right? It's not like it's full of fluff, right? It's dense. I still think you probably could have taken out a couple of songs here and there, but I respect it as a work. And this is, again, Lizard Brain versus Critic Brain. Like, Critic Brain, this album's a 10 out of 10.
What's the Lizard Brain about?
Lizard Brain is just like, you know, TikTok brain.
No, I understand that. It's just like, why is that called lizard? Because we didn't evolve from lizards.
Well, all mammals evolved from lizards, reptiles. Did they? Yeah.
Learn something new every day.
I think that's the idea. That's like our base instincts. Like,
I get the base instinct thing. I just didn't think that mammals actually evolved from lizards. Now we know.
We did.
Just need to have a biologist from Colombia in the room.
Point for you.
Point for me.
Okay, good discussion on flamenco. But I think we have another interlude from Linda Martell, which I think is really interesting and maybe telling that she is kind of the person who introduces each segment of the album, right? And she says again here, like, basically she says, like, we're about to get a little crazy. Mm-hmm. And I remember when I got to this part of the album, I was like, okay, I wonder what this is going to be. And then we get Yaya. So why don't you start about this song?
Okay, I love this song. It's giving me like very like 1950s, like it's almost American Bandstand. That's what I'm thinking of. It's like an American Bandstand kind of. That's how I envision this song. It's like clear that from like the audio, it's like Beyonce is like up on the stage performing the song live is what the conceit of this song is. And so she has some backup dancers and possibly her musicians who are her fellas, and the girls are probably her backup dancers. And she's doing like a little call and response section to start it off. Like it's really a show. It's like an American Bandstand show.
And they add a lot of extra reverb to her voice at the beginning to make it sound like it's like a
it's
room.
On a microphone. Yeah. Exactly. And you're like sitting in the audience listening to it.
Right.
And I love that because it immediately, like, I immediately have a picture of what this looks like in my mind. And the sounds that they're using, I think it starts with just like some drums and then they start snapping.
She says like, bring in the toms.
Yeah,
right?
Toms, please. Yeah. That's what she says. I also love that at the beginning, like, it gives you that whole idea of like, oh, we're doing call response. Hello, girls. Hello, fellas, which is like a very old-timey thing. But then the next line is, these petty ones can't fuck with me. Why? Because I'm a clever girl.
Oh my God. It's so fun. It's so fun. And I'm like, okay. I was like, now we're at a party.
Yeah,
I was like, okay, what are we getting into here?
Yeah, it's so fun. But it's just really fun. I love that juxtaposition of like, oh, okay, I get it. We're like back in like American Bandstand, like 1950s, 1960s, like kind of aesthetic. But then she like uses such modern language by saying these petty ones can't fuck with me. It's great. I love that. So immediately you're right. It's like a party. We're at a big show. The strength of this song for me and why it's a standout and one of my favorites on the album is that it is so fun and so energy packed and like a total mix match of different sounds and genres all in one. It really is.
Not only, okay, first of all, yeah, this is an absolute banger, and I know I use that word a lot, but this really is a banger. Like, I was like seeing this live, hearing this even in the club, like, it would go off. Like, I'd be, you know, it's just like so much energy, so fun. But then also the lyrics are pretty, like, this is almost like the encapsulation of all of the themes of Cowboy Carter,
yeah, exactly.
right? Because she talks about, you know, let me like just read from the lyrics here. My family live and died in America. Good old USA shit. Whole lot of red in that white and blue.
Right.
So it's like
one obviously of the most powerful lyrics, I think.
Incredible lyric. It's first of all, it's a joyful song.
Yeah.
Right. So it's a very joyful song. It's not like she's saying this over like a sad, melancholy beat or anything like that. She's saying like, I'm proud of my roots, but like you got to acknowledge that like this is part of the dynamic. And I think it also has, because it has this like live show element to it, it also feels a little bit like it's commenting on the dynamic between like black performers and like white audiences.
Absolutely.
It reminds me a little bit of Childish Gambino just put out a new music video from the album that he dropped. Had a similar vibe where he like shows up and he's kind of like talking about his traumas, and you know, there's like an audience that's cheering for him, and it's like a really upbeat song, but there's this tension there, right? And I think that it speaks, I think Yaya probably does a slightly better job of getting this across, but it's the same kind of like concept, I think. So yeah,
I love that. Yeah, I think that the song, I think you like definitely hit it on the head with it, talking about it being a joyful song, but it's also like an educational song. I think that overall Yaya is an optimistic song, where I think like some of the other songs in the album earlier on, I'm specifically thinking of Alligator Tears. I don't know that it's an optimistic song. I think it's just kind of like, it is what it is. But this song is like saying like, you know, we have got to acknowledge the roots and reconcile with our past and some of the things that are going on currently that are because of our inability so far to reconcile with our country, which is founded on racism and reinforcing class structures and class dynamics. But one of the things that I do love about this song, you kind of talked about like the dichotomy between white and black performers, is she really embodies some of the performers of like some of the most iconic black performers. Like some that come to mind for me in this song are like Little Richard and Chuck Berry, and also James Brown. Like the way that she does all the ad libs, the oohs, the ahs, the yahs, and the actual like screaming growls. Like it is so energetic and fun, and it's funny too that it's set in this time of like I keep saying American Bandstand. I don't actually know exactly what years that was. I think it was like the 1950s and early 60s. But it has that kind of vibe with it. And that was a time where like white performers were often like very like well-to-do, and they were kind of restrained and polite in their performances. And black rock and roll artists really became very popular. Well, I mean, rock and roll with white audiences.
Yeah, it doesn't even need the black qualifier, right? At that time, rock and roll music was black music.
Yeah, exactly. And so what I love about that is it reminds, and I keep thinking of Dreamgirls because Beyonce was in the movie of Dreamgirls in 2007, I think it was, or 2006. And that was kind of one of the things that they depicted in that movie, and I'm assuming as well the play, which I've never seen myself, is that the white artists were like very kind of plain and boring, for lack of a better word, and the black performers were seen as like wild and outrageous, and that's actually what the audience responded more to was
oftentimes the largely white audience. So it's this weird tension, right? And she mentions in the lyrics, you know, which I think is super fun, like during the parts, the yaya parts, the choruses, she mentions dances that are like, I think usually black dances, right? So she talks about the jerk,
we shake
twerking,
we swim in, jerking, we twerking.
Right. And it's like this fascination that white audiences have with like black performers. Right.
And then black at the same history time, and culture in general.
Right. And at the same time, they exclude them from their communities.
Exactly.
So yeah, it
goes back to one of the recurring themes of this whole album is that like whiteness or white culture only accepts blackness in certain forms and in certain places,
and often it's not internally consistent.
Exactly.
Right. Like it doesn't actually make any logical sense.
It doesn't make sense. Exactly. Nope, you're totally right. I really do love part of I think it's like the second verse. She's talking about like, are you looking for a new America? You're tired of working time in half for half the pay. Like she talks a lot in this song about class issues and class structures in America and how we're getting totally screwed over by giant corporations. I will say there's a little bit of interesting, I don't know if this is really irony. Yeah, I guess it is. There's some irony here because Beyonce and her husband are like worth like over $1 billion together. So it's like, are these really things that you're necessarily experiencing? But I'm going to give her a pass on this one because she really is bringing to light issues and talking about them openly that really disproportionately affect like people of color in our country.
Yeah, and it seems like it's funny, like she's repurposing, I think she is making the commentary that we had mentioned about black performers and their relationship with white audiences, but at the same time she seems to be speaking directly to, you know, a largely black audience here. She's like, we twerking.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
So it's like, I think that she is not necessarily talking about her personal experience. She's saying, are you tired of working time and a half?
Yeah, she's
right?
more this like for her culture, for her
right.
people.
But I do think that, I agree that you're right that there is like, I mean, it's kind of the elephant in the room that you're like maybe the most successful entertainer in the world, except for maybe Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but not for nothing, T Swift is not talking about stuff like this at all.
That's true. She doesn't. Yeah.
She does not get anywhere near the depth of this stuff.
She's too busy thinking about Matt Healy all the time.
Oh God, we can't start.
Can't go back to this. All right, moving on.
They're gonna come for us. They're gonna come for us. Yeah, I also love the references that she makes to like other artists. I love the Nancy Sinatra sample that she uses in what was the song? These Boots Are Made for Walking. I also love the picking up on good vibrations thing that she reused from the Beach Boys. But I also love the part where she's like, if you ain't got no grits, think the fuck up out the South. Like she's like way down in like her lowest possible range. And it's like the song, like you said, is joyful, but it's also kind of goofy. Like she's not afraid to be silly in this song, even though she's talking about a lot of heavy shit.
And there's a couple of other instances later on in the album where she's like a little goofy, a little bit of surfboard energy.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I love that. Like this is just like a fun, I think this song is like a great, I kind of already said this, but I think it's just a great showcase of like who she is as an artist and what she's capable of doing.
And this album.
Yeah.
Like she literally says at the beginning, I want to welcome you to Cowboy Carter, which is like a weird thing to be saying. What track is this?
Third of the album, yeah.
The 20th track of the album, right? So, yeah, I think this album is super backloaded. Like, I think that, and like I said, my critic brain is like, I understand why this entire first chunk is here, but when we get to the last phase here, I'm like, okay, now we are cruising now. And like, I don't think there's a miss maybe for the rest of the album.
No, like, I don't think so. Yeah, this is one of my favorite songs. I can't wait to see the visuals because I just know that these ones are going to be some of my favorites for this song. I also can't wait to see the song live because I know it's going to be great. Okay, let's should we talk about the next little interlude? I'm sure you hate it.
Yeah, I just don't again, this is one of those ones I'm like, I understand why it's here, but it's not even like she is covering this song. It's just the Chuck Berry song Chipmunked. And what I mean by that is that the vocal is pitched up and sped up a little bit. So, like TikTokified, if you will. Like, I guess if I'm reaching a little bit here, maybe it is like the commoditization of black entertainers again. Like, maybe that's the point here. You know, TikTok chipmunk voices of like a classic, you know, black. He's the guy who invented rock and roll, basically, right? Like, maybe that's the intention. I also think it's interesting that she chose a Chuck Berry song. I mean, obviously, there's the connection with her past. It's Oh Louisiana, which, you know, she has roots in Louisiana. But he's, I think, more associated with the genre of rock music than with country.
Yeah.
So that was interesting to me. I know that you said that the second half of the album, or at least this last third of the album, kind of continues on into Renaissance, considering that Cowboy Carter was expected to come out first. But I also think there's a lot of rock and roll influence here. And
definitely.
We'll talk at the end about Act 3, but I think there's a lot of speculation that rock might be the next genre that she attacks. I
think it will be. My kind of overall theory, because I thought about this a lot, and I feel like I think she's just always recording music as it comes to her. And I mean, I know that it's like well documented that she has several recording studios in like all the homes that she owns. And she often like just flies singers and songwriters that she wants to work with in, and they'll just basically camp out with her for a week and just work on stuff. And sometimes that comes out as like an album that happened in one session, and other times she's just like collecting stuff. My guess is that this entire work, this 3-album act, has come from multiple different sessions that she's recorded, and she's like, I want to try this, I want to try that, and she's like kind of taken those pieces, put them together, and then probably filled in the gaps with other works and little interludes and clips that she's had and wanted to incorporate somehow to create these 3 distinct works. Like, I don't believe that she went into this thinking, I'm going to make a work that is 3 acts. I think she probably just was having so much good stuff come out of it. She's like, this is way too much for one album, and I don't want to throw all this out because so much of it is great. And so I think that's my guess. I don't know. That's just my feeling, because there are a lot of like similar themes and similar sounds, you know, sonically similar things happening in kind of all of the, or both of the albums that we have so far. I don't know. I'm interested to see what the third one's going to be like, but I would be surprised if it was not rock and roll. Sorry, I'm babbling now and don't even remember what my initial point was.
No, it's okay. I was asking the question about rock, yeah. And I was just, you answered my question, which was like, I wonder why, or I was curious why she chose Barry, you know, here.
Oh, yes, and you were talking about the commoditization of black music.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's a really astute observation. It's not something that I'd considered before, but I think you're right. It kind of sums up the last song perfectly. It's like a great kind of like end cap, again, to use that word.
But yeah, Desert Eagle is next song.
Ooh, another one of my favorites on the album.
You like the short ones, huh?
Because you know what, I love pithiness in general. Although listeners, dear, I'm sure you don't agree, considering you listen to me babble all the time. But I really love this song. I love the little do-si-do intro, and I just love like the funky like beat that's underneath this. But yeah, I really enjoyed this song. What did you think about Desert Eagle?
Yeah, I mean, it falls in a similar category to Flamenco, although I think I kind of get this one a little bit more. You know, Desert Eagle is a reference to the handgun. Yep. Which is very country of her. But it doesn't like say like, keep your hands off my gun. I think it's actually an interesting like subversion of the trope of like guns in country music, because the lyrics talk about a sex worker basically. Yeah, exactly. And like having the Desert Eagle in the backseat just in case this John wants to fuck with her. Yeah. Right. So I think it's like a cute little, it's a little bit more interlude to me. Tongue-in-cheek, yeah. More than like Flamenco, which I was like, I feel like she's trying to do something serious with Flamenco, and I don't know that I'm getting it. This one, I'm kind of like, okay, I think I get what this is. It's a spin on the country music's obsession with guns, you know?
I also think there's a couple of different times where she references like guns in cars, which I think again goes back to the conceit that we're listening to like a radio show. Yeah. Like I think there's parts where we're purely listening to the radio, and other times we're kind of like in the car with the character that she happens to be embodying at the time.
Also very Bonnie and Clyde energy, right? Which, you know, obviously we love Bonnie and Clyde, a Beyonce song, with Jay-Z.
Beyonce. Bonnie and Clyde 03.
So after Desert Eagle is Riverdance.
What did you think of this song?
So I remember when I was looking at the track list and I was like, is this going to be like an Irish dance song? And then I actually ended up really liking it. And I think this is really where I see the Renaissance influence starting to come in, right? Because I think from here on out, basically, not here on out, subtracting a couple of songs specifically, a lot of the songs here are 4 on the floor, housey vibe songs, right? Yep. Riverdance is one of those, right? And it starts with banjo, though. I didn't know what to expect from this song. And then after the banjo comes in, there's like some like pads, some synths that sound like piano, which are very housey and vibey. I was like, so okay, vibey. I'm vibing to this. Yeah. You know, and then the lyrics are like, bounce on that shit, dance. So it's literally a dance song.
Over and over again. Yeah. I love it.
And there is like a bit of a story that's being told in very like almost poetic, like very vague terms, but it is an interesting story. Like, I don't know if I didn't dig too deep into trying to interpret what it is specifically.
Neither did I.
It seems like a little bit like a archetypical country, you know, Western story, you know?
Yes. Very much that, like some kind of like twisted lover type of situation. But what I love about that is the bounce on that shit dance, like almost like becomes part of the beat. And like, I don't think of it as lyrics because it's like, because of the repetition.
I mean, that's very house music.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Yeah.
So I love that.
Yeah, and especially like now we're getting to the part of the album where if you played Two Hands to Heaven to me, out of context, would I think it was on a country album? Like, absolutely not. You know, this is like, when it comes in, it has these pads that are just like synths that are super kind of just like chill. It almost sounds like something you'd find on SoundCloud or like on a dance, you know, a dance record label single, right? Like a very chill house sound at the beginning of Two Hands to Heaven. The only thing that's really vaguely country about it is like the lyrics where she talks about, you know, like religion and
whiskey.
Yeah, whiskey. So yeah, I mean, it is really interesting the genre shift that happens in this third part of the album, and it begins with Ya Ya and it continues on to the point where, you know, at the end you're like, what genre is this? Like, is this country anymore? You know, which I love. Again, just to repeat something that I said last week, I think this is kind of what Beyonce envisions what country music like could have been or should have been if like country musicians were more ambitious and creative with incorporating other genres and moving the genre forward, you know?
Yep, exactly. Instead of more of the same over and over again. One thing I liked about this song and the lyrics anyway, and some of her other ones, is that she uses like lots of like geographic locations. Specifically in this one, she talks about Marfa and Las Vegas and talking about like driving through there. Like that, she has like a thing about cars and just like cruising around, which is another part of like
that's an Americana.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's like very Americana. It's very much like goes back to like what you initially talked about with the conceit of like being in the radio, or this being a radio show that we're in for at least part of the album. Let's talk about Tyrant.
This is another one of my favorites from the album.
Yeah, it's a good one.
And again, it's another song that I would not have guessed this was on a country album if I heard it out of context, right? I mean, Dolly Parton is featured on it, but does she actually sing the vocals, or is her feature just that intro?
No, I hear her in the chorus of the song.
Okay.
The one by one, you hang 'em high. I hear her, and this beat also has like the nail thing, which is like something that Dolly Parton and Patti LaBelle are both famous for doing, is like using like, which is a very country thing, to like use their fake nails or acrylics to like create a
percussion.
little bit like
Yeah.
Can you hear it?
I can hear it. Hopefully the listeners can hear that. Also galloping.
Yeah, exactly.
Galloping sound.
It's very country.
I guess that like the beginning, you know, one by one you hang them high, that part sounds a little bit country, or maybe even like gospel-y almost. You know, like it seems like it's like a group vocal, gang vocals, you know. But then when the 808s come in, like, and the kick comes in, you're like, ooh, this is a trap song.
It's so good. It's so good.
And the hook, the, you know, Tyrant, every time I ride it, like, I feel like I've heard it before. And there's two potential things, which is that it does sound like another song, but I haven't been able to find it. And sometimes there are melodies that are just so good and perfect that like you feel like you've heard them before, even though you have not. This might be one of those melodies, because I heard it and I was like, that's just so catchy. And like it gets stuck in your head immediately. And the drop, you know, that happens with the drums there is also just so incredible. It's a lot of energy. Like, this is another one that would go off live.
Tell me which part you're talking about again?
The Tyrant part.
Can you sing it?
No. I will not. I will not.
One time I will get you to do it.
You're welcome to sing it if you want, Geoff.
No, I'm good.
That part of the song, the chorus, is about as many great songs a la Espresso about riding dick.
Yeah.
But what do you think the meaning is of the song? Because the title is Tyrant. Like, who is the tyrant? The intro talks about a hangman. It's a little bit cryptic. So what was your interpretation of the lyrics?
Well, the first go around that I heard this, I was like, oh, this is a song about lynching. But then when I listened to it over and over again, I was like, I don't really know that that's true. Well, I think it might be more of like a proverbial lynching, but I don't think it's necessarily like a song that's about racism or anything like that. I think it's more a song about, I don't know, what would the opposite of a womanizer be? Like a female, an empowered female who like comes to town and just like kind of draws the attention of all the men.
Yeah,
and
there's
like,
not really. Well,
she's like kind of like a bone collector in a way. She's like collecting all these men as like her conquests. That's sort of what I pictured.
There's a lot of like stigmatized terms for that, right?
Right. I guess that's what I was looking for, a less stigmatized version of that. But that's sort of what I pictured, because the whole time that she's talking about them, she's like talking about, you know, I can hear her body howl when the sun goes down. Hide your man when the hangman comes to town. You know, this tyrant comes into town and she looks so good, but she's doing terrible things and she tries to justify it. I don't know. And then she's like, have you seen her 5'9", thick and fine? What a tragedy.
Well, there's a bit of like femdom energy here,
yeah,
because
exactly.
During the chorus, Beyonce says, I am a tyrant, like during the dick riding part.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like,
I think she's kind of like, I can be this too.
And it's powerful.
Exactly.
Like it's a source of power, right?
I think in my mind, if I were creating like a music video for this, it would start with Beyonce seeing this hangman come to town, this empowered woman who's like just here to like get fucked and have a great time doing it. it would start with Beyonce seeing this woman like just like absolutely come into town and like take all the attention of the men, and then Beyonce being like, well, I could do this too because she looks like she's having a good ass time, and then it would turn into her becoming the new Hangman and moving to a new town and doing the same thing.
Right, and maybe that is actually why Dolly Parton is featured on this, because it does have some connections thematically with Jolene
yep.
and the earlier song, and also
Exactly.
Beyonce's cover / remix of Jolene, where
Yep.
she adds the new lyrics, kind of twisting on that original kind of, theme of Jolene.
Yeah.
So I can see that.
I can too. Great song. I love that it is sort of like a country trap song, if that's a thing.
It definitely
Beyonce
is.
kind of like made it a thing, I guess. I think it's great. And I think that Beyonce is like a great rapper because there's a couple spots in the song where she raps and it's really good.
Yep.
Let's talk about Sweet Honey Buckin'.
Sweet Honey Buckin'. This is like a multi-phase song, right?
Yeah,
so,
talk about 3 acts.
Yeah, it starts like a couple of the other songs from this section, a little housey. Starts with a 4 on the floor, and then it changes over time. Yeah, I think it's great. It also features Shabuzi, who is featured. Is this his first time being featured, or is he on something else?
I think he's on 2 songs on this album.
Well, if this is the only one he's on, it is worth noting that he is like a black country artist, and he timed the release of his single Tipsy so that it came out around the same time as Cowboy Carter, so that it would be, I think it's the first time ever that 2 black artists have gone 1 and 2 on the country charts. It's good that she brought him on for this song because, again, I think this is the era of the album where she's talking about like what country music could be if we allowed, black artists to thrive in this community. Yeah, what are your thoughts on the song?
I like it. I like that it's like 3 parts. They do sound very distinctly different from each other. I wouldn't say it's one of my favorites, but I like it a lot. I just feel like, much like you, this 3rd section of the album is like no skips for me. Like we're playing the whole thing through. I do like that it's distinctly like broken up into 3 different sections that all sound very different. Like you said, the sweet section of the song.
Yeah, so we should make clear that the way that this is formatted, the song title is like Sweet Star Honey Star Buckin'.
Yeah.
And it seems like each of the 3 parts of the songs, first part is sweet, second part is honey, third part is buckin'.
Yeah, which in my mind, like I kind of struggle to think like what's the difference between sweet and honey, because like people often conflate the 2. So I don't really know that there's a huge difference between the 2 of them, although the honey one I guess is like a little bit more generically country sounding. And then my favorite part is the buckin' part. I
mean, look at that horse.
Look at that horse. Look at that horse. Look at that horse.
That is the surfboard of this album, and it's such a fun line.
It really is. It's so good. It gets stuck in my head like all the time.
Yeah.
Look at that horse. Look at that horse. Look at that horse. Look at that horse.
Yep.
It's so good. Another time that Beyonce is great at rapping on the album.
Yep.
Excellent job. I don't really have a ton to say to that. It doesn't have to get that deep. Look at that horse. Look at that horse.
Sometimes it's not that deep and you just got to look at that horse.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Have you seen that theory that on the back of each of these albums, she has a photo of a horse close up, and the first episode is like, or the first album is like the head of the horse. The second album is like the middle. So we believe that the back of the 3rd album is going to be the tail end of the horse.
Yeah, this is fully not a theory to me. This is just like confirmed fact.
Okay.
Like there's no way that it matches up perfectly, where you get the disco horse of Renaissance, just the head, and then you have the horse of Cowboy Carter.
The horses have names, Justin.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You didn't know that?
No.
The first one is called Renee, Neigh.
Of course.
The second one is called Chardonnay.
Oh my god.
Also Neigh. So I've been trying to think like what's the name of the 3rd horse going to be.
I'm also like, what is going to be the difference? Like, how are they going to genreify the 3rd horse? Like, well, we can get to that when we get.
I bet it's going to be black.
Yeah,
because this song is this horse is a. Oh, I don't think we ever talked about this. Maybe we did. There's like a particular breed of white silvery horse that is depicted on the album cover of Cowboy Carter, and it has to do with lineage. Like I think it's supposed to be some kind of representation of like Beyonce recognizing her own lineage, because those horses are apparently like thoroughbred, and I mean, I'm not into like horse culture so much. I don't know a ton about it. But apparently these are like very rare and sought after horses that she's depicted on.
Interesting.
So, I don't know.
Yeah, it's a gray horse, which I feel like...
I think it's white, no?
Well, the breed is called gray. It's kind of like how you'd say like a blue dog, isn't actually blue, but yeah. But yeah, a gray horse, I feel like symbolically often has to do with like decline, or like it's a symbol of disease or something. So I wonder if that has something to do with modern American country music or something like that.
Or the demise of our great nation. Anyways,
that's a little bit of speculation there. But yeah, I'm very curious to see how she completes the horse.
Black Horse, calling it now.
So final song on the album is Amen.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think of this one, Geoff? It's kind of short. It's only like 2.5 minutes long.
Yes, which I know you love. I think that it was a great way to kind of end the album. It's a drastic change because it's a very gospel song, and it's definitely like a reprise of American Requiem.
Yes.
Which again like adds to this like show element of this album. Like it really does feel like from start to finish like a play it could be, or a
We're back to country again. I think that like this last third of the album, like we mentioned, a lot of these songs out of context I wouldn't immediately associate with country music as a genre. This one, yeah, it ties it back in. It's cyclical. So like if you have the album on repeat, go from Amen right to American Requiem, and American Requiem starts like nothing. I think the first line of the album is nothing really ends. So it ties in nicely for repeat listens. Yeah, it's a capper, obvious. This one I understand. I'm like, this is clearly a cap to the album. It's an outro. Yeah. I mean, there are some lyrics that speak to the themes of the album again, like this house was built with blood and bone, very similar to the line in Yeah. It crumbled. Seems like it's talking about again the decline.
Yeah,
I think United States.
I think this song in general is just about like the kind of decline of the United States and like what our society that we've built and that. But I also kind of think that it's sort of like, I think this song is almost written from the perspective of how she would hope to one day look at our country and say like, yep, these houses were built of lies and stone and they did crumble. So I think she's kind of talking about, like we used to like really prop up our institutions and our history as if it was like this great thing. But then we all had a reckoning and realized that that was not the reality. And once we acknowledged that, we moved on. And, I can see that we're all hurting and we need to do better. And so she talks about in American Requiem, which the song reprises, there was a lyric like those big ideas are buried here, and then in this one she does like a line that sort of is talking about it now, looking again in the rear view, about them old ideas are buried here, and then amen, like thank God that's over with. So this almost feels like like a new period of reconstruction. To me.
It has it ends on an optimistic note, even though it is also melancholy. I think it says, it's saying everything that has been built, like the Americana that I love, like my past, and the roots that I have are built on like a rotten foundation.
Right, exactly.
But it also ends on an outro that says like we'll be the ones to purify our father's sins. So she seems to be optimistic about America, which like good for her. Can't relate, but but yeah, it's nice that it ends on an optimistic note, and I think that the whole purpose of this album is that it's optimistic about the future of Americana and country, right? Which again, like it's not like she's saying country music is garbage in this whole album. It's more she's saying like country music is complicated. I have a complicated relationship with it, but here's what I think it can do, and I think it can be powerful.
Yeah, and like you've mentioned several times, like how it relates directly to country music, and I think that I definitely agree with you. I just keep, for whatever reason, for me, this, and I think both things are true and right. For me, I hear it all more as like an outlook on society in general, as opposed to directly being about the country music industry.
Well, I think that
they're both, but they're like intrinsically related.
They're connected, right? Yeah. Like I think that country music as a genre and as an industry is like a microcosm of America.
Yep,
right.
100%.
It's a symbol almost for America.
Exactly. Yeah, I agree.
So I think that I mean, thematically a dense album. It's a masterwork.
It surely is.
Yeah.
Oh, Justin, I'm glad that you've come to your senses after this deep dive.
All right, well, let's take a quick break, and then we'll come back for What's Good? Be back in a sec. And we are back.
We're back, baby. Well, it's the end of the episode. We've talked a lot about Cowboy Carter. We've talked about all of Cowboy Carter. We've talked about looking at horses. We've talked about Bibles and guns on our dash in our back seat. But Justin, what we need to first talk about, or lastly talk about, is what's good.
We do have to talk about that, Geoff. A lot is good. It's been a great weekend for music. There's been a lot of drops that I've really enjoyed this weekend.
Tell me about them.
I'm going to focus on one drop.
Okay.
It's an EP by an artist named Pluko. It's Pluko.
Okay.
And the EP is called Oxy 1. So Pluko is an electronic artist I've been following for a long time, since he put out his debut album on Odessa's record label, Foreign Family Collective.
Oh, I didn't know Odessa had a record label.
Yes, it's a great label, lots of great artists. So yeah, he's been around for a very long time. He's still pretty young. I shouldn't say very long time. He's been around since like maybe the mid 20-teens.
Okay.
He was very young when he started putting out music, so he's still pretty young now. And he's gone through like a lot of genre changes. Like I think he did a lot of like future-based stuff at first, and his transition to like more trappy stuff, a little bit more vibey stuff, and now I don't even know how to describe his music. But this new album or this new EP was preceded by a few singles that I didn't really get when I listened to them in isolation.
Okay.
I think that there's this wave in electronic music now where tempos are like going up higher and higher, like faster and faster. House music is hitting like 140 BPM, you know?
Oh, that's really fast.
Like pretty high tempo. And Pluko is in some ways following that trend. He's doing 4 on the floor music with high tempo, but not in like the techno or house kind of way. And I don't think I really understood what was going on. But in the context of this EP, I think that it makes a lot more sense. So I would describe it as kind of like an electronic take on like maybe that era of like indie rock, like Two Door Cinema Club or like Passion Pit, where, you know, it is 4 on the floor beats, but it's very fast, you know? So yeah, it's high energy. And I think it really clicked with me when I was driving around this weekend in the car. It's excellent car music, you know, very summer vibes. I was thinking about it maybe like more in the context of like a club, where I think it would go off in certain contexts, but I think it really works really well in the car, windows down. So I'll highlight 2 songs that I really like.
Okay.
The first one is in this genre of 4 on the floor, very speedy songs. It's called Get Right. And this song features vocals from Evelyn. She says, I just want to get right by the end of the night. You know, it's a very pop dancey type EP. The lyrics aren't complicated or anything like that, but it's a catchy hook. The drop is great. It does like one measure of just kick drum, and then it adds both the hi-hat and the snare. Very satisfying.
I like that.
I'm just trying to get...
That is very much in line with the rest of the album. The second song that I'll highlight is called Okay Yes, which is a very short song. It's only like 2 minutes long, but it's not really in that line of like quick 4 on the floor beats. This is more of just like a trap song where there's a rapper, Rio Cragen, who's featured on the song that just keeps saying okay yes over this trap beat, and I can just imagine like moshing to this in a club or at a festival or something.
Can you sing it for me? I want to know how it goes.
Sure. Okay, yes.
Oh, I love that.
That's exactly how it goes.
Okay, yes. Okay, yes. Okay, yeah.
Okay.
And I'll also put a clip in so you can listen to the actual version.
We have a clip.
But yeah, super high energy. Really enjoyed listening to this EP driving around with the windows down in the nice weather this weekend. So my what's good is Oxy 1 by Pluko.
I'll have to give that a little listen. I've got some driving around and errands I've got to do later on.
All right. Well, Geoff, what's been good with you?
You know, I put so much effort into my buildup of asking you what's good, and this is what I get. This is not cool.
I'm just trying to be sensitive about time, that's all.
The listeners love to hear us banter. It's our whole thing.
I guess the name of the podcast is Bants, so.
Well, Justin, I had something for what's good, as you know already. But I've changed my mind.
Oh.
because I was hit by a sudden realization from two things. One was the event that I had yesterday that you DJ'd at, which you did a phenomenal job. Everybody show some love to DJ Benz on SoundCloud. His stuff is not on Spotify or TikTok, even though I'm always trying to get him to make a TikTok. I try to be his manager, but he doesn't like me doing that. So, anyways, my realization came from that event and then from a clip that you sent me.
It's from a podcast called Trash Tuesday.
Trash Tuesday.
Yes.
Okay. I only saw the clip on Instagram. To be fair, or Reels, I did not listen to the entire show, but you guys maybe should. I mean, I will check it out because I really liked it. But this person's talking about how the younger generation doesn't really go and do clubs. So for my what's good, I want to talk about people getting out of their house. We all have to be getting out in the streets. We're outside. That's what the summer needs to be about. Summer 2024. We're outside. We're listening to Sabrina Carpenter Espresso while we're driving with our tops down. Maybe we're listening to Pluko's new EP that just came out because apparently that's also great driving music.
Hell yeah.
We've got to get out of our houses and do fun things. Let me tell you a little story. I went to Maine with some of my closest friends last weekend and we had a wonderful time. And one of the best nights that we had was when we went out to a club. We went out to a gay bar in Ogunquit, Maine called Main Street. Shout out to Main Street. They're always a good time.
Love Ogunquit.
That's right. You've been there too.
And Main Street, yeah.
And we had a blast. I bought shots for everybody, which was fun. Then everybody started taking turns buying each other drinks. We were all dancing our butts off on the floor. We went outside for a couple of breathers on a terrace. It was just nice to be out of our home, out of our cottage that we rent, and to be like out amongst other people and meet strangers and have random connections in the bathroom with people. Talk to the person who's standing next to you having a drink. I realized last night that people our age are not really going out and doing things. Like the crowd, it was a fundraising event, so that aside, the crowd was definitely older. It was people like in the generation known now as the baby boomers and up, basically. There were very few people who were like Gen X or Gen Z or millennials. And we just need to be getting outside. I have noticed too, working with some interns who are Gen Z, the social skills are interesting. I might say lacking a little bit. I think it's because people have gotten so used to doing everything on their screen. And I know I sound like a crazy old person saying all this. I really know that. I recognize it. I would be rolling my eyes too if I were you. But I really do think that there's something to be said about like going out and having experiences with people and interacting with people you also don't know every day. Because it really helps you become a better adjusted person, a more tolerant person, and a person who just like has a little bit more street smart than you would have otherwise staying at home. So my what's good is this summer, everybody, what's good is going out of the house.
Yes, I couldn't agree more. And let me just say one quick thing about the dynamic at the gala that happened, the event that I DJ'd. I initially was going to play a lot of music that was like newer music, disco inspired, because I thought
Dula Peep,
for example. And
Sabrina.
There were a lot of younger folks there. So I was like, okay, this will get these people on the dance floor, right?
A lot. There was a good amount.
There was a good amount, like enough that there's like a demographic there to be catered to.
Yes.
But what I noticed was every time that I started playing music that was newer than like 1980, the older people left the dance floor and the young people did not take their place, right? And part of that is just like not being self-conscious as you age, which I totally applaud. In my elders, respect your elders always. But another part of it is I think like people are just not willing to like take the step to go a little bit out of their comfort zone and like dance. Yeah. So yeah, totally encourage you to try and have fun outside. Like do something a little bit wild. Sometimes you got to feel that energy.
We're getting out of the house. We're going to be grinding up on strangers. We're going to be shaking our tits and screaming. To quote our friend Allie.
You gotta shake the tits and you gotta scream. All right, well, this has been Bants.
Thanks for listening.
Make
sure that you rate our podcast if you've been listening to a couple of episodes now. If you're liking what you're hearing, please go give us a rating on Spotify, Apple Music, or wherever you're listening from.
Leave a review even.
leave a review if you feel so inspired. Even if it's not entirely positive, you can leave a review. You could give us a little suggestion if needed. That's fine too. We need the engagement. We got to get up these charts. We are starting to get more listeners. We are getting followers on our social, which is great, but we got to up the ante, and we really appreciate your support.
All right. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Bye. This has been Bants with Geoff and Justin. Bants is produced by Geoff Taylor and Justin Benavidez. Graphic design by Geoff Taylor. Editing by Justin Benavidez. The theme music for Bants is the track Time With You by Tolif featuring Rule. That's spelled R-V-L-E and is provided by No Copyright Sounds. Email us at bantspod@gmail.com with any questions, recommendations, or just to say hi. Catch you later.
Justin, what do you think about this? Take the bouguette.
What was that word?